Hey there, it's author Debra Parmley with another March of the Writers. This is the prompt for day 22. It's beta ways of doing things. In other words, beta readers. So, what are beta readers? Beta readers are readers who read your manuscript before it's published. It's kind of like a test group. Um, They don't edit it. It's not an editing. It's just a quick read to kind of see if there's anything jumping out at them. Um, it's a newer kind of thing. When I started out back in 2007 and had a contract with a publisher, you didn't do beta readers. What you did was you submitted manuscripts to agents and editors who then said yes or no, and then they told you what your book needed. So it's come about more with the indie world. So beta readers, how do you get them? What do you do with them? Authors do this all sorts of different ways. I have posted on Facebook before asking for beta readers. I have posted in my Facebook group because those are my actual readers in my group. It's not the general public. Um, and right now, my Facebook uh, personal page is down because Facebook has suppressed it. I don't know if I'll get it back. It went down March the 10th. I appealed on the 11th. I haven't heard anything since. Last time it went down, it was down for 4 months, so I can't count on Facebook for anything these days. Luckily, I have a few beta readers in place. One particular one, she worked as a former law enforcement officer, and she's really good at helping me to uh, fine tune things and suggest things because I write romantic suspense. So she's more a combination resource and beta reader. So I have particular types of beta readers, and this is the most important one. I sometimes have my SEAL advisor read either an entire manuscript or just a scene because I write a SEAL series and the characters have to be, well, it has to fall into the would a SEAL do this kind of a thing. And so for those books, he is my only beta reader because I don't need the general public reading those. I need a real SEAL to read those. And so, and usually I ask him questions before we get to that point. Then I get the scene done to what he's told me he thinks I need to know, and then I write it. Then I send it to him, and he can say, "Oh yeah, this works," or "Yeah, not so much this direction, more that, a little bit more this way." You know, just kind of like hanging a painting. You've got the general idea, but is it hanging right, or is it crooked, or something? Does it need a little adjusting? That kind of thing. So beta readers can be good for that. And let's see. With other fiction, I've had beta readers, and some authors have, they'll say they put it out to beta readers and 20 of them read it. That's too many for me. I'd rather zero in on 1, 2, or 3, no more than 4 ever, beta readers on any particular manuscript. But I'm being particular about who gets it, and usually they have some sort of training that I don't have, and so I don't know if it's more of a beta read than it is more of a advisor research kind of a category for me. Um, some authors, they just want a beta read from a reader. And, that's fine and all, but I'm a little more particular. And I think partly because I am so accustomed to the old traditional way of handing it to your editor, and your editor would advise and make decisions, and then you'd tweak and you'd rewrite and you'd send it in and you'd get it. That process, I loved that process. Indies don't really have that unless you've hired an editor that does that, but a lot of the indie editors don't do that. So a lot of them are just looking for your grammar and your punctuation and stuff like that. So I prefer the traditional type of editor when I hire an editor. I want to talk about story first. Let's tweak story, because if your story is not tweaked well enough, then your commas won't matter. The story is the most important thing. So I focus on story with a good beta reader that matches the story, that can help me make it better, and then I consider it ready to go off to be edited. It depends on what kind of story it is and what it needs as to what I ask for help with. So some stories, I've written so many stories now that I don't need a lot of fine tuning, because I write really clean. I've already, in early days, probably in the first 5 books that I wrote, in the first 7 years that I was on contract with 5 publishing houses, I worked with so many editors, professional editors. I learned really quickly what my bad habits were so that I could work on not having those. And that's why I say I write clean. A newer author won't have that experience to help them write cleaner. So, for instance, when I speak, I use the word that a lot. That's my voice. But you don't want the word that to show up too many times in any piece of writing, because the overuse is not good writing. Now, so if I were doing dialogue and the character speaks like me, then it needs a lot of that, because that's how I speak. I use that a lot. But in the rest of the book, no. Only that one character is allowed to do that. I can't have the whole book full of that. And so if I were to search for the word that, it's a trick I learned. So if you're a writer and you have a word that occurs over and over again, do a search for that word in your manuscript and then decide if that word belongs there in that sentence. That's just a little tip. You can find out a lot of your habits. We do have habits when we write. You want to make sure you don't polish it to the point where you stop your voice and you don't have your voice anymore. You got to be careful. So that's why I say dialogue. If I'm speaking, I might use the word that a lot. If I'm writing a piece of fiction, that word doesn't belong in there. So not so much. So beta readers won't pick up on that so much unless they're trying to correct your grammar and all that stuff. That's not the purpose of a beta read, though. So I've had beta readers who wanted to, I don't know, I guess they think they're proofreading or line editing, and they want to tell me about commas and stuff, and I'm just like, no, that's not what we're looking for here. So when you ask your beta reader to read your book, you have to be specific about what you want. This is an early draft. We are not going to focus on punctuation, any of those smaller details. We're just looking at the story itself. And this is also how traditional publishing goes. My first book had 5 editors in-house. There were 5 different kinds of editing, and it would go to the next level and the next level and the next level. As a result, their books were well edited. Uh, your content editor only works on the story. They don't work on the line edits, the grammar, the commas, that. Because if your story isn't solid, it still needs things, it's a waste of time to work on commas because that entire page or that paragraph might be removed because the story is not working right. So why would you go to all that detail of tweaking every little thing when you're trying to look at the overall picture of the story and how it flows and the pacing, what's happening when, what you might need to fill in or take away. So it just depends on what you need. So when you're sending a beta read in, if it's a first draft, you really want a content type of response. You don't want all the details. At least I don't. But I'm very specific if I ask for a beta read, exactly what I want, what I'm looking for. So it's a newer process for me. It's probably only been in the last, I've been at this since my first book was on contract in 2007. It's only been within the last 3 years that I've done any beta readers at all. So it's a newer thing. And I used to rely entirely on editors. But all my books are indie now, so the beta read is a new thing, so I'm doing it. But particularly with people who have backgrounds that can help me make the book better. So that's me in beta reads. And beta ways of doing things, which is a clever way to get the beta reader thing in there. That's the title of day 22, March of the Writers. I'm going to keep at this, and we will see how many of these I get done. It's after 12:30. We'll see how many more I can get done before I need to get some sleep. And then I need to do some more of these tomorrow because tomorrow is March 31st. We are almost finished with March. So thank you for listening, and I'm going to on to the next one. Have a beautiful day.